Even 2,000 years ago, that was the reason for the victory of Christianity over Gnosticism. Because Gnosticism, although true, was too complex, and Christianity, although false, was simple and direct. Simplicity has been the key to victory in all the idea wars, and at present, Magick does not have it. There is the skeleton in the rights of man and in the coverings in the main literature, but the true body has never been shown forth. Jack Parsons. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. I've had this idea for the topic for a while now, and I think I'm going to do it. I don't think I can do it very well, but might as well try, right? Now, the occult origins of NASA, I just want to point out that there is a connection there. Not necessarily that being that the occult origins are evil or good or whatever. It's just that the origins are there, that the mainstream, the establishment, status quo, whatever you want to say, they know about it, they understand it, they actually want to sweep it under the rug, which is an interesting thing, because not only are the occult origins there, I gotta install something, give me a second, with the OTO and now Freemasonry, but it's interesting that the OTO part of it just kind of disappeared. Everyone just kind of died off, and that's just more to look into, really. I've been having these interesting ideas that magic, the performance of magic, like it's just like a magic trick. That's why they call it a magic trick. It's a trick. If you know the secret to the magic, if you reveal the secrets, right? Just like in every secret organization, whatever that they have, they say don't reveal the secrets and all this stuff. And if you do, there's going to be repercussions. We on the outside don't know what these are, but we can probably eventually figure out what the secret is, what the trick is. And once the trick is revealed, well, the magic doesn't work anymore. People the person or people performing the magic trick, they're going to be pissed off at you for revealing their trick. And the people who are mystified by the magic trick, that are watching the magic unfold, and you reveal the trick and they're like, well, you just... it's not spectacular anymore. We know the secret to this magic trick, so we're just looking at that and we're looking at the audience than we are looking at the trick, because now the trick is revealed. It's we can't enjoy it anymore, but we can at least enjoy the audience and their reactions to it. We can enjoy seeing how well the performer is performing it, right? The magic trick. But as far as ourselves, we're not mystified by it. So, we took all the fun out of it. Dang it. So, hey, Grant Jarvis, how's it going? So, I had a thought. Now, I'm diving into the whole magic thing and way above me, right? Where's it under me? The thing about it is, a lot of it is based on intent, emotions, and then in asking, you have to ask some form, some deities, some whatever it is, I don't know. And hold on, updates, good. Here you go. So I think what it is with mainstream media, with government, all these things, they're not the ones performing the magic trick. I think they're tricking everyone else who's what we call brainwashed or sheep, whatever you want to call it. They're having them perform it because their intent, their belief in something, whether they know anything about it or not, or the truth or the deeper underlying meaning or not, They don't know, but they really believe in something. And their emotions are into it. Like if you talk with anyone and you want to talk as logically as possible, any subject, when they're so emotionally involved in that topic or discussion or whatever it is, especially if it's a belief, they're going to get angry. They're going to get resistant. They're going to be very emotional. And that's what we see through on out. And then what we have, it's kind of like all religions, there's some belief involved, like prayers and even meditation. There's this asking for something on the outside to perform something because you're emotionally involved and you really believe in something. You have this intent on something to happen. So the magic trick is being performed by the masses, and the ones who are the puppet strings have their hands clean, really. So I think that's an interesting interpretation or an idea of what's going on. Do I know for sure? I have no idea. I have no evidence that I can propose for that, but I can provide evidence for this topic, and that's where I'm going to go. So without further ado, took the quote of the day from Jack Parsons' letters to Candida. This was in 27th, 1950. And you can always, all my stuff is always free, 100%. Never charge anything. You don't get any special content by joining some club or whatever website. You can always join me on my topics. Zoom meeting link is always in the description box. If you don't have it and you're watching from somewhere else, you can go ahead and ask me for it and I'll paste it. If you want to call in, that's fine too, if you don't want to be on video. Join the Flat Earth People Finder at zoomtruth.com and get involved. I was noticing I responded to a couple of Quora posts about Flat Earth today, and you know, anytime anyone is searching for Flat Earth, they're gonna get Flat Earth Society. They're gonna get the controlled opposition version of Flat Earth. You're gonna get you're not gonna get people like me showing up in these Flat Earth search engines, Flat Earth YouTube searches, and all this other stuff. They're always gonna go to Logan Paul, you know, and a whole bunch of other mainstream sources about Flat Earth. So a great way to actually see other people who go out and try to run some observations, run some tests, talk about Flat Earth, have debates and stuff like that. You can meet a lot of people who are Flat Earthers at zoomtruth.com and get in touch with maybe people who are close to you, you know, have conversations. Maybe you're a globe earther and you just want to talk with a couple of Flat Earthers that aren't like on these shows or whatever you want to call them, and just have like a unofficial private conversation. And I think excuse me, a lot of globe earthers will be a little bit humbled because almost every Flat Earther was a globe earther, and when they were globe earther, they didn't know much about the evidence of globe earthers. Like, yeah, you know, we got pictures, we got photos, we got all this news, we got history books. So, you know, why would we not believe that Earth is not a globe? So you'll be interested to find out that a lot of Flat Earthers are much more knowledgeable about this globe Earth model than you probably do. Okay, if you wish to donate, you can do so. I prefer cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Vertcoin, although it's been over 20 months since anyone's donated. You can always check on the blockchain explorers to transactions that I did was taking money out of my Patreon, giving to Susie Dawson when she needed it, and nothing on the Vertcoin side. You can always donate via Google Super Chat or YouTube Super Chat, whatever you want to call it, and PayPal.me. And I disclose at the first video of the month the donations for the previous month and all months total. And PayPal.me was started in September 22nd, 2019. Okay, so here we go. I don't have a lot of links in the description box just because the description box is getting really long. But you can easily find it. We're going to go through a whole bunch of things that you can find and figure out for yourself. So a loose connection is Walt Disney and involved with NASA, and kind of wonder, what is someone with big influence in movies have to do with NASA? Well, it just connects so much. But anyways, you can go and see. And I'm gonna have to mute it here because I don't want to get this channel copyright strike. Even though if it does, you can always watch on these different platforms, which you should. So you can see Disneyland, and then they're gonna go through a whole bunch of stuff. This is called Man in Space, back in 1955, and they go through how we'll go to space and go to the moon. They have Werner von Braun in it, and they have cartoons, animations, and instructionals. Of course,
third stage gives the passenger section the final kick to attain the orbit. It will not.
That's Werner von Braun. I've shown this video before. You can probably watch it on your own time. So that's just one connection. Walt Disney, of course, was the occultist. Now, Jack Parsons, the original Rocket Man, featuring Dr. Michio Kaku and Amy Shira Teitel. I don't know who she is, but I know Michio Kaku, the Asian astrophysicist guy, right? And this is on CBS All Access. They're making a documentary about Jack Parsons. And you can hear it in their own words. And I'm just going to go and play it back so you can hear it from what they have to say about it.
Just like with rocketry, the more you dig into the story of Jack Parsons, the bigger and crazier it gets.
In all of science, perhaps the most colorful, iconoclastic figure is Jack Parsons. He was born in 1914 in Los Angeles.
Parsons was very influenced by early science fiction and was kind of fascinated by the potential of technology to do something amazing, like going into space.
In his early days, he was experimenting with cherry bombs and blowing things up.
The Parsons yard was cratered with explosions gone wrong.
Jack needed access to the establishment, so he went to Caltech.
Jack pitched a rocketry project as a PhD thesis. They started working on different types of rockets to see how they might be applied.
You need something that would emit heat and energy in a controlled way. So for years in the 1930s, he would do the yeoman's work of testing out different kinds of explosives. They hit gold. And of course, the Pentagon was not too far behind. They needed a new name. So they called it the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL.
In his private life, he got involved in what some might call a cult.
The FBI began to hear rumors of strange shenanigans going on in Jack's commune.
Well, publicly, he was developing a lot of great technologies. Privately, he was hosting sex parties, and he was getting involved in this otherworldly stuff that many thought was not becoming of a scientist. And it ended up being this lifestyle that forced him out of JPL.
Jack's name will live forever.
Those two solid rocket boosters, the SRBs, that the space shuttle used, are a direct descendant of technology that he developed at JPL. Without JPL, we wouldn't have had the rocket that launched America's first satellite. Without JPL, we now wouldn't have rovers on Mars and spacecraft in interstellar space.
Part rebel, part occultist, and 100% rocket scientist.
Yeah, the reason I like to play these back in live and where you can see the entire URL and stuff is just so you can see that it is from the horse's mouth. They're admitting it. It's not just like I'm gonna show a couple, maybe one website. Let's see, like this one. It's by Savage Plain WordPress about it. They're going over the same thing. They have a slant towards it, but I just want people to know that there are occult origins with JPL and NASA. And occult stuff going on currently, which is different. So there you have it. Not only that, there's a couple more things that you can always read up on, and just do a search on Jack Parsons, and you can just see already Jack Parsons. It comes up, You get wired.uk.co.uk, occultist father of rocketry, written out of NASA's history, Jack Parsons. You know, it's already all there by mainstream media sources. NewYorkPost.com, sex trade cultist, Jack Parsons. Now, I don't, because mainstream media puts a slant on the occultist, sex crazed, all that stuff, I don't tend to believe it. And the death of a lot of the OTO, even though, you know, it's a mystery, the presentation of the OTO is, and I should probably slow down. Ordo Templi Orientis, right? It's a lot of history for that. I don't want to go over that now. But, you know, there's just really a lot of bad things, evil things associated with it. But I'm starting to think it's not true, that there's a purpose behind all those slant towards it. But you don't know. Everything is just confusing. Now, NASA, a lot of people know just a lot of Freemasons associated with the astronauts, and you can always look that up. And within the Freemasons are a lot of secret handshakes. And this, you know, you can always keep diving. And I always say, look into the mainstream sources for it, right? So, astronauts that are Freemasons. And you'll get a bunch of, even mainstream sources will, or even Freemason stuff will say, yeah, of course, we're proud to have so many astronauts as Freemasons. And let's see, secret handshakes, Freemasons. There's like the questions are there, right, for mainstream media, whatever. I think it was revealed somewhere that there was actually some Freemason that said that there were a secret handshake. And let's see, Freemasons. Gosh, I wish I could remember. Oh yeah, why this secret handshake between police and Freemasons should worry us. Did I already have that one up? Okay, I did. Give me a second here. Let's see. There was a Freemason saying, yes, of course. They admitted to that there are secret handshakes. And there's one secret handshake that they're not supposed to do in the public. Let's see. Anyways, most people are pretty understanding of the Freemasonry connection with NASA, and understand kind of what Freemasons do. Now, anyways, in that article of whoever that Freemason was, that pretty much revealed to the public, yeah, that there is a secret handshake that they're not supposed to do in public. Here's one. The Challenger, I think this is the 9th Challenger that exploded, whatever. Challenger anniversary resource tape of course, there's conspiracy theory about they're still alive, and I think that holds validity. This is NASA STI program YouTube channel, Challenger anniversary resource tape. And you've got the main astronaut. Let's see, Challenger 9 astronauts. What's his name? Is it Michael J. Smith? Yeah, Michael J. Smith. Watch, he's gonna say, watch what he says. I'm just gonna let you hear it.
Greg Jarvis it'll also be their first time, and we're just all looking forward to getting on orbit and getting the secret handshake.
I mean, I remember the first time I listened to that a while back, I was like, whoa, Why would he mention, being excited about getting the secret handshake? Wouldn't he be excited about going to space and doing what you're supposed to do? Here, you can listen to it again. It's the 11-minute, 25-second mark, but I'm just adding more time to it so you can listen. Here we go.
Greg Jarvis, it'll also be their first time, and we're just all looking forward to getting on orbit and getting the secret handshake.
So they're all excited about getting on over to the secret handshake. So astronauts for you with the Freemasons. Just something to note. There's some chatter. So let me read some of the chatter, guys. Let's see. Hello from Canary Islands, Santiago Obscure. Let's see. William Pounds, Google is Illuminati. Let's see. Anyways, interesting conversations that you guys have. What else? Okay. And you can see that there are articles of Jack Parsons and occult roots. You've got Vice that's, talks about crawling back to the alleged hellport of NASA's occult origins. So it's not like I'm saying this. Jack Parsons' partner in Magick, L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. It's all there. This article was written by Brian Anderson, October 31st, 2013. Interesting date for that. All right, I guess it originally ran in September 2012. 77th anniversary of NASA's first rocket tests. Anyways, talks about Jack Parsons. There's also a lot about Aleister Crowley, in that if you dig deep, that it said that Jack Parsons was probably gonna replace Aleister Crowley as the head of the OTO once Aleister Crowley passed away. Anyways, there's also that. Yeah, there were FBI investigations over Parsons, but Parsons was also an FBI informant to find out who in JPL group of his were communists. There's a lot of political mess back then. As always, here's one on Wired. If you are a tech junkie or whatever, person who's really into technology and innovation, Wired is a magazine that you probably read. I used to read it. I don't anymore. Cultist Father of Rocketry, written out of NASA's history. This is by Olivia Solon. Wednesday, 23rd, April 2014. Parsons came to believe in magic. Of course, should have added a K. A force that he thought could be explained through quantum physics. And talks about more about the history. Anyways, it's all there. It's all mentioned. Whatever your thoughts on occults and Aleister Crowley and Magick with a K and NASA and whatever, you can't deny it. That's the thing, because it's just right there. And if you go, well, those are just mainstream media sources. I don't believe in mainstream media sources. Well, here's NASA, jpl.nasa.gov, and from early history, first rocket test, all the way to JPL joins NASA. Talks about a group of young men back in 1936, and talks about the Rocket Boys were an unusual bunch. Frank Malina was studying aerodynamics at Caltech's Guggenheim Aeronautical Laboratory, known as GALCIT. Jack Parsons was a self-taught chemist, and informant was an excellent mechanic. They scraped together cheap engine parts, and on October 31st, 1936, drove to an isolated island called the Arroyo Seco at the foot of the San Gabriel Mountains. Interesting that in only 2 weeks, their experiments with rocketry was a success. 2 weeks. Now, there's another article that you keep continuing on. We're reading that part, but here's another one, jpl.nasa.gov, the spark of a new era, and it talks about Jack Parsons as well. They were Frank Molina, Jack Parsons, Ed Foreman. Talks a lot about Parsons, and You don't think he was dabbling in the occult? You think that's just all mainstream media propaganda or conspiracy theory stuff? Of course, if you dive deep, you know that CIA formulated the whole conspiracy theory idea. Anyways, says his associate Parsons was a free-thinking explosive expert who dabbled in pagan rituals and liked to keep volatile rocket fuels in his home. So yeah, all that is there. I'm sure if you search on FBI and CIA, you'll see some stuff on Jack Parsons too, and we can even search for it if you want. Let's see, Jack Whiteside Parsons, FBI.gov. Let's see, Jack Parsons, FBI, Wikipedia Commons. I guess they won't have it on the FBI.gov site. What about CIA? But then, of course, you could probably also say, well, I don't trust the government either. So they could be like, yeah, good. You guys should always be questioning and not being too trusting. So anyways, you can always go for the source, right? Just check the source if you think that there's questionality about the whether it's true or not. But Science Focus even has it, where Nazis, Magick, and McCarthyism: Dark History of American Space Exploration. So it's not just a conspiracy theory thing. It's a mainstream media thing. It's a .gov information. All of it points into the occult or magic type of, and Nazi, right, history of American space exploration. Now we get to someone who's dived deep into it, looking, and I don't know who this person is or who they are, but you also have to take the information here as a grain of salt. If the link, you can always go ahead and search for yourself whether all of this stuff is good, like viable to find on your own. So anyways, he goes, this is back in April 12th, 2017, Savage Plane. This post has been cobbled together from a number of places as the original website is no longer available. That's why websites kind of suck. Because you have to have someone, you have to keep renewing, you have to have someone keep updating it and keep the information around, and then if they pass on, who holds that stuff. So, having it on multiple platforms, try to have enough reach where people would go ahead and save it, or at least explore the topic in a future date and share it with more people on different platforms. It just keeps going. Eventually people have to dig out through all this information, disinformation, but whatever, they'll eventually come to it. Anyway, I want to recreate this article by the Modern Gnostic. Interesting enough, Modern Gnostic. I wonder what that means, because I found it a valuable source to direct people to when explaining the glorious roots of the Church of NASA. Enjoy. So, in my lexicon, NASA stands for never a straight answer. If you ever happen to start poking around NASA and the Apollo moon landings, a keen eye and open mind will bring you to the conclusion that it was a staged hoax. In fact, pure hard scientific evidence analysis irrevocably reveals the fraud among many. Think about that. The greatest feat accomplished by man is an elaborate Hollywood production that cost the American taxpayer a cool billion. Imagine what James Cameron could create with a budget like that. But to be frank, it pisses me off more that NASA has built up a money-sucking colossus composed of lies, hoaxes, and misinformation. The American taxpayer derives virtually no benefit from NASA's existence, and alleged scientific contributions derived by supposed explorations and experiments in space. Absent of any other sources to verify, we have had to prostrate ourselves to the so-called experts. Despite irrefutable evidence that NASA is nothing more than an elaborate financial embezzler and pseudo-science peddler. The focus of this first part of the series is based on the principle that is indefensible if you are caught. Fraud vitiates everything it touches. In short, once fraud is detected, everything that sits upon it is now in question. Your credibility is shot. Who would disagree with the logic of found fraud destroys the validity of everything? It's reasonable, predictable, and has the power to instantly change the direction of one's perception. even those that are held sacred. Fraud has no limits by those who engage in it, and it's been around a long time. Do you think real fraudsters just stop at one fraud, or do you think they keep going until they die or get caught? The answer is a simple one. Why would you ever stop lucrative fraudulent activity if you haven't been caught? So the chance for systemic fraud, once initial fraud is found, becomes a virtual certainty. Reminds me, as an off side, is I think they, whether the police or FBI, whatever, they talk about bank robbers and how do they catch bank robbers? Well, the bank robbers, because they don't get caught, they eventually keep robbing banks, and then eventually they'll end up getting caught when they keep robbing banks. They'll make a mistake, type of thing. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. To further muddy the waters, NASA was founded by satanic worshiping occultists and black magicians. Now, this is of course not the same sentiment that I have, even though, it's kind of like, just like Flat Earth and NASA. If you don't think they went to the moon or to go into space, or that the Earth is not a globe, but they'll trust in the religion, the organized religion of Christianity or something like that. It's like, wait. So you don't trust one set of control systems, but you trust another. I always find that perplexing. And then the other thing is they'll and that's kind of the whole idea about this. You'll trust, you won't trust the mainstream media, but you'll trust the government. Or you won't trust the government, but you'll trust one portion of the government. Like you'll trust NASA, or you'll trust, I don't know, the IRS, because you keep paying taxes. But you won't trust like the president. You won't trust the congressman. You won't trust whatever. Certain things you won't trust, but you'll trust another thing. It's just kind of amazes me about that. Anyways, this is not out of rumor but fact. NASA is a military Hollywood pseudoscience satanic cartel whose true aim is to use taxpayer funding to promote and profit by developing and deploying pseudoscience technology and methodology. Some of it I would say I guess is true. The first fraud, in my opinion, is True Origins of NASA, and a cast of characters that had significant influence. Go to NASA and search for them, and you'll find whitewashed bios or no information available. Fraud number 1, pre-NASA. The predecessor to NASA was the young talented rocket scientist Jack Parsons. Werner von Braun claimed it was the self-taught Parsons, not himself, who was a true father of the American space program for his contribution of the development of solid rocket fuel. And all this other stuff. Let's see. Suicide Squad was the beginnings of the famed Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the institution responsible for the Mars rover landing and many other advancements in rocket and robotic sciences, which of course you saw in that little preview that I showed. The non-scientific set of ideas was steeped in the occult, Satanism, black magic. Parsons swore the oath of the abyss, having only the choice between madness, suicide, and that oath. Then I took the oath of a Magister Templi, even the oath of Antichrist before Frater 132, the unknown God. Thus was I Antichrist, loosing the word, and to this I am pledged that the work of the beast 666 shall be fulfilled, who knew it was so easy. So, I don't think the whole 666 and Antichrist stuff is the same thing that most Christians believe in. I think it's something different, and it's set up to be. Imagine if the real Jesus Christ came back, everyone would say, "Hey, that person's performing miracles. He's the Antichrist." So you guys set up and kill him again, type of thing, right? Horrible. So yeah. Don't be tricked again. You guys keep falling for it. So it keeps going on about Jack Parsons, FBI 1, FBI 2. It's no longer there. It's on script.com. I think I looked in this deletion notice. Talks about the OTO, Order Templi Orientis. It keeps going. Look for Talbot Smith, Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard. And the whole connection, and I think it even goes to Walt Disney. But that's just kind of what you'll see on a lot of these sites and diving into it, but I'm starting to think things in a different way. And of course, you could always look at Walt Disney, Occult, even CIA.gov has like bloodlines of Illuminati and things like that on their site. And by Fritz Springmeier of 1995, which is an interesting article I kind of read. Did Walt Disney influence Stanley Kubrick's 2001? There was a lot of debate about that, and I was looking just for Jack Parsons quotes. Anyways, any questions anyone has about the occult origins of NASA? I think if you look, and it's not even very hard that you have to look. I mean, how hard is to type Jack Parsons on a keyboard on Google? You'll find a lot of information on Jack Parsons, and you'll find a lot of information on, maybe a little bit of information on OTO. You can even probably find a couple of things on just the writings of Jack Parsons and read his stuff. And I'm kind of reading his stuff, and it's like, wow, it's like, I don't see it as an evil thing, you know, that mainstream media pushes on, that the mainstream religions push on. Those who are involved always died in mysterious circumstances. They weren't ever in control of any form of government, unlike the Freemasons have always been. So it's a interesting thing, I guess, if you really look into it. Let's see. Let's look at chat. All right, but you see tourist infected. Yeah, okay. Someone touting the coronavirus scare, Santiago obscure. Let's see. I doubt you have any videos made. Oh, you do have some interesting stuff. Okay, a lot of good symbolism. Oh, it's a good, interesting symbolism. Okay, Clearwater. Well, you know, I just need a couple of million of you guys, of course, Clearwater, no videos. And I'd probably make a good amount of money on YouTube. But I guess that's not my intent, is it? I think everyone who's against me understands my intent, and it's to reveal the secret. The secret you don't want revealed, because if I reveal the secret, the trick, well, it's not going to work anymore. And it's not been working anymore. And that's why we're in this mess, because when a magic trick doesn't work, well, you got to move on to the next trick. And once you've used up all your tricks, what do you have left? You got nothing, right? So that's why the secrecy is there. You know, this isn't 100%, but I think I'm getting close, and I think some of the people out there understand I am getting close, and probably are a little bit afraid, probably more than afraid. Anyways, this is that, and I'm gonna probably dive into more magic and occult stuff and see what I can glean from that, because I'm looking into this stuff that Jack Parsons wrote, and I'm not disagreeing with it, which is something I never thought would happen, right? And people are going, "Oh, Ebon, you're gone to the dark side, you're becoming evil," or whatever. No, not really. It's all based on experience, and not necessarily coincidences, synchronicity, I guess you could call it that. Makes me wonder, and thus, of course, well, gotta figure it out. That's what I do. And anyways, hopefully everyone has a good week. As far as the coronavirus update for me in my local area, neck of the woods, which is in Columbus, Nebraska, school for public schools in the Platte County, or at least Columbus Platte area, April 30th. So my daughter won't be going to school until then. She likes playing with her friends and stuff like that. She has some fun in school. There's good activities, but of course she has to understand a couple things that want her to keep asking questions. I want her to think critically. I want her to think. I want her to actually, what do you want to call it? Be more rebellious in some ways. It's like, disagree with me. Find a good reason to disagree with me. And if you find a good reason to disagree with me, then I might agree with you instead. And thus, you might get what you want, really. So, everyone has their own way and methods of raising their kid. And so, she's great. She's gonna still be great. Same with my son. Anyways, thank you for joining me. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much, and have a good night.